or we can call it as DTD, document type definition of a web page. What do you mean by this document type definition, or what do you mean by this schema? The schema indicates the structure or the set of rules and regulations what you can specify for a web page, so that while executing the web page, browser can check that guy. Okay, so what do you mean by this? For example, practical example, guys. I say you guys that remember, like when we are actually starting with the inline CSS, we said that we discussed that applying the CSS either using the tag name or the style attribute is never recommended. Only the class based and ID based are recommended. Remember, everyone?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now, assume I'm your project manager. Assume we all are working together for a single for a project, and I'm your project manager. Now, I said you guys, boss, don't make use of the tables, which will decrease the performance of the page. Don't make use of the inline CSS. Like this, I have given some set of rules and regulations. But now there is a chance you guys can still make the inline CSS, still make use of the tables. Yes. Why so? The rule is given by me, but the browser is capable of executing the tables and the inline CSS, etc. and all, right? That is the reason. Still, even though you apply them, still the browser is going to execute them. If the case is, why don't I directly give the rules and regulations to the browser itself, saying that don't execute the inline CSS, don't execute the table tags, etc. and all. If that is the case, that is more advantage for me. Yes. So that is what we call it as DTD or schemas. Until your HTML4, there was an option for the developer to specify the DTD or the schema which need to be followed by the browser before executing the web page. Repeating again, until your HTML4, browsers were having a your developer is having an option of specifying what is the DTD or the schema of the current web page, so that based on that schema or DTD, it should able to render the corresponding web page. Okay. Now, how you used to specify this? Let me show you some simple examples of the DTD or sample DTD of HTML. DTD examples. Yeah, if you see here, this is how we used to specify the DTD in case of your HTML4. This is what we used to put at the very first line. We used to put this doc type HTML so and so, and this is the DTD under which we used to specify the set of rules and regulation how the browser has to get executed. See here, you have every other thing. Style attribute. What do you mean by style attribute? Whether you need to include the style attribute or not. What attributes you need to include? Only ID, class, style and all. What are the events you need to allow? Every other rules and regulation you are going to specify. You as a developer, you are not going to develop this, or you're not going to create the DTD. There are some other developers who take care of developing the DTD, but you as a web developer just need to link that link, the URL to the doc type. That's it. That is what you need to do. But one advantage what you have is this process was happening until HTML4. When it comes to HTML5, it completely stopped giving an opportunity or an option for the developer to specify the rules and regulation. It by default follows all the set of rules and regulations, because coming from the HTML5, there is an option of user defined tags, user defined attributes, etc. stuff. If you are not specifying the user defined stuff within the given DTD, obviously they won't get executed. So that is the reason what they have done is they completely removed the option for the developer to specify the DTD or the schema. That is the reason from HTML5, you don't specify the DTD, you simply specify exclamatory mark doc type space HTML, which indicates the current web page is supporting HTML5 based concepts. Am I clear? So now you don't need to know anything about, just for information, DTD or schema are used to specify the rules and regulation of the web page. But from now, you don't even need to specify. And another thing is, even though you are using the HTML5 features, specifying the doc type is an optional. It is not mandatory. Okay, specifying the doc type for a current web page is not at all mandatory. It's an optional part. Even though if you remove it, still the browser is enough intelligent to identify whether the given thing is whether the given whether the used properties are HTML5 or not. It will automatically take care of. Any questions on this doc type? Anyone?
So doc type only support HTML5 or both HTML4 and 5?
When I say doc type HTML, that indicates HTML5. It doesn't mean that you can only use HTML5, which means that this web page is also holding HTML5 features.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
If we are using, HTML4 version, can we use HTML5 features also, or we can't?
So currently, Pravalika, when you go with the latest browser, you can go with the HTML5 based features only. Like if you go with IE 7, 8, even though like those are being killed off, IE 6, 7, 8, 9, those are been completely killed off. But if you have the browser with you, if you run the HTML5 features, they simply don't get executed. If you say local storage object, it says that we don't, local storage object is not defined. It will feel like it is a user defined object. But if you go with the latest browsers, latest in the sense, not too much latest also. Like if you go for the browser which got released before 5-6 years, from there itself it got supported with the HTML5 and CSS3.
Okay, sir, understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Next, any more questions? Clear, everyone?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, good. So the next part, what actually we have is the semantic tags. There are lot of predefined tags, some more new predefined tags what HTML5 is supporting. So before going with the semantic tags, without semantic tags, how the web page is going to look like, let me show you. Then I will convert the same using the semantic tags also. Okay. Let me create a very simple page. Say something called as some div class equal to t block. Some div class is equal to m block. Some div class is equal to b block. Okay, let us put some CSS for this. Control and Control S. I save this guy as okay. Okay, let us see how these guys coming here. Okay. Okay, so this is how I have the page. Okay. Okay. Now I would like to divide these guy into two blocks, the middle guy into two blocks. I will see the middle block has two divs here. Let us say some class equal to L block. Another div guy says some class equal to R block. Okay, this L block and left block. Again, border 1 pixel solid. Um, float as left, padding of 10 pixel. Okay, margin of 10 pixel. Okay, let us see how it is getting rendered. Okay, this is how it is. I say position as relative, bottom of 5 pixel. Position as relative, no, it is absolute. But if I make it as absolute, the problem is float doesn't work. Let me remove this. I'll give the height for this. Height of 400 pixel. In fact, guys, I mean, these things can be done more easily if we go to the CSS3 flex containers or grid containers. Okay, as we haven't yet done, so I'm just using these guys. But once I come to the flex containers and grid containers, these type of things without using any float property, we never get a chance to use the float property. So a lot of things can be done with this. Okay, I will show that. So I say dot L block. The width is going to be say some 30%, 25 percentage. I say dot R block. The width is 70 percentage. Okay, come back and reload the page. 70 is also not possible. Let me make it as 60 percentage. Reload the page. This is how it is. Okay, this is how I'm creating a simple page here. Okay. Now coming to the right side block, I would like to create another div, say something called as class equal to uh, one block, some individual block where I would like to show some content. Okay, content about to show, and I would like to have multiple blocks here. Okay, and this R block is going to have the overflow property as auto. Okay, and this block guy is say some border 1 pixel solid, padding of 50 pixel, margin of 10 pixel. Okay, this is what I have added. Reload the page. This is how the contents are coming. If I add another block here, like this, reload the page, this is how it is. Okay, super fine. Now my next thing is, I mean, these type of layers we have already developed initially itself. Okay, fine. Now I want to see what is the disadvantage or what are the limitations I can see with the current way of coding, whatever the tags I'm using. If you clearly see, wherever I go, I'm simply making use of the div tags. Okay. Now, looking into this div tag, do you have any idea what actually the div tag is doing here? Anyone? By looking into this div tag, by just looking into the class name, do you have any information that whether it is a header guy or the footer guy? No.
No.
Simply using the div everywhere. Even for the footer, you are using a div. You are for the main container, you are using a div. You are for the header, you are using a div. I mean, it is not giving any extra information what content actually it is holding. Because this is just a 1 to 30 lines of HTML code. It's okay for you. You can simply read the content, and luckily you're giving some relative class names. You can just relate it, whether it's a header or footer or content or something like that. What if you have thousands of lines of HTML code and you want to identify what type of content the particular tag is holding? Now, what HTML5 says is, why don't you specify the tag name itself as a self-descriptive tag? That is where it is coming with something called as hundreds of semantic tags, what HTML5 is supporting. What are those? There is a predefined tag, something called as header. There is something called as footer. There is something called as some section. There is something called as some aside. There is something called as some figure. There is something called as some navigation, menu, same thing called as main container. Okay, main container, sections, article. Like this, there are hundreds of HTML5 predefined tags are there. What are the use of these tags? The tag name itself will specify what type of tag it is or what type of content it is holding. Example, come back to this first guy. This is a header. Can I simply go with the header tag here? Yes, this is a footer guy. I simply say it as a footer here. Yes, this is a main container. I say main container, or else main block, I can say main block. Okay, this right side is a aside. Aside in the sense things which come side by side. Aside. Aside is one of the tag. These two are aside. I mean, by looking into this, you can say that, okay, aside and aside. Okay, these are the two blocks which are coming next to each other. In the same way, here we have classes. This is called as something called as an individual section. One of the section or one of the article you can go with. Yes, the tag name itself is actually telling what type of content it is holding. Now, if you save this guy, come back and reload the page. Do you see the same type of look and feel? Yes. The advantage what you have is external person who looks into the code, by looking into the HTML code itself, they get to know what piece of code responsible for the header or the footer or for different types of content. This is what we call it as semantic tags. So one main thing you need to understand is when we use the semantic tags, they don't come up with a predefined feature. Now, if you see, I'm using something called as a footer tag. Does that mean automatically it will go to the footer? No, boss. If I remove the class, what I have added, we have added the customized CSS properties to move the element to the bottom. Now, if I remove that guy, but still I'm keeping that guy as a footer, let us see how it is getting rendered. Reload the page. The footer is losing its look and feel. In the same way, header. In the same way, if you remove the aside, etc., and all, it will be the look and feel is going to get changed. Implies when I say header, footer, section, article, it is not coming with any predefined look and feel. They are just elements on the top. You need to give the CSS properties so that they can come. So that they can come to the position what actually you wanted. The only advantage what you get is tag names are self-descriptive. Whoever looks into the code, they can directly understand what type of content the particular tag is actually holding. Okay. On
Pipe
the
default. Sorry, sir. Pipe default, it's work like a tip, right, sir?
no, I mean, yeah, it actually works like a block level element. Not everyone, it depends. Like say sections, articles, asides, they directly come like as a block level. When you go for a figure is for image tags and all, those things works as a inline block.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And one more peak level support being given in your HTML5 is you can create your own custom tags. Assume under this, I want to store something called as EMP name, Mr. Raj. Okay, say something called as some BR. EMP age, say something called as some 60, like this. Now, if you come back to the page, reload the page, this is how it is coming. Now, what HTML5 says is you can create your own user defined tags. Now, I can say employee details. I can simply go with employee details like this. So this is not predefined. There is nothing called tag called as employee detail. I am defining this, and you define your own property. Properties can be given. Say something called as some test here. Say some class equal to hello here. Say some style equal to color equal to say something called as blue here. Now, if you come back here, reload the page. If you inspect these guys, do you see employee details, user defined tag, which is having an ID, class, property, not forget about this employee detail. I say something called as some Prasad details. I can create a tag with called as Prasad details. I can save it, come back here. See, the Prasad tag is taking, where is that? The Prasad tag is taking the ID, taking the class, taking the style property the way you want it. This is what the advantage you wanted. In fact, I recommend instead of going with the semantic tags, why don't you make your own custom tag? You already have the display property using which you can actually change the rendering type into either block level or inline, whatever the way you want it. Am I clear here,
Yes,
everyone?
sir.
Okay, so from today, whenever you're going to define the tags, make a habit of defining the semantic tags. Make it as self-descriptive tags here. Okay, even your projects or wherever you're going to work with this, examples and all, just work with the semantic tags. Don't go with the basic every time div, span, etc. Okay. Next, the next concept what we have is HTML5 even providing some new predefined HTML input elements. Okay, we have seen some of the input elements when we are looking into the HTML4, like input type text, password, checkbox, radio button, submit, text area, drop downs, those things what we had looked into. But coming to the HTML5, it has come up with some more new predefined HTML tags. Let's have a look on them. New HTML5 elements.html. Okay, let us say some URL tags like tag. Okay, under this, let us say I would like to read the username. Now I say enter username. We say input type equal to text, and how it is getting rendered. This is how it is. This is not auto. Why so? Margin 10 pixel and auto. I want to make it center horizontally. Okay, this is how you're giving the part here. Let me give some padding also, guys. Say some padding of 10 pixel and margin of 10 pixel. Okay. Come back and reload the page. This is how it. Okay. The next thing is, like whenever you're going for the next topic, I mean, not next topics actually. Nowadays, the main challenging for the UI developers is the space constraint. Whenever we are creating the web pages, the main challenging where we face is we are not going to have the same space in across the devices, because nowadays people are not just restricting to the systems. They may open the web pages in a mobile, in a tablet, in a TV, in a projector, in a laptop, in a monitor, in a small device. There are multiple omni channels are there. Now you as a developer, the challenging part is you need to make use of the existing real estate. In the sense, existing space what you have, you need to show the content accordingly. Okay, so here we need to specify whenever you are putting the label name. Okay, here the label enter username. What it is helping us? It is helping us in telling that here you need to add a username. Once the user get to know that I need to enter the username, do I need to put the label name? No, not needed. So that is the reason we, instead of showing the label name here, we are going to show the label names under the text box using a predefined attribute, something called as placeholder. I can say enter user name like this. Now, if you come back here, reload the page. See here, you have the text label under the text box itself. A placeholder is the new attribute from your HTML5. Now, what is the use of this here? I get to know that, okay, I need to enter the username. Now you put something called as Raj or ABC, whatever it is, it will automatically remove the label name. This is what a new feature being supported from in HTML5, which is called placeholder. Okay. Next, till now, say for example, I would like to read a age value. Till now, what actually we were doing, every time we go with something called as input type equal to text, and we are reading that even though user is giving some numeric data, by default it becomes a text container. You need to convert that into number again. So instead of that, you can actually make use something called as input type equal to number, which will automatically becomes a number type of input with upper and down arrow here, where on clicking of upper, it automatically increments. On clicking of down arrow, it automatically decrements. You can even specify the minimum value and the maximum value. I say minimum is 10, max value is something called as, say something called as 20. Now, if you come back here and reload the page, when you come out here, see when I'm clicking on this, it is starting from 10, and when it reaches to 20, it simply stops. Okay, so input type equal to number is a new input element using which you could able to read the number type of data from the user. Okay, so once you read this data, you don't need to convert into string and all. By default, it is a number data. Directly arithmetic operations can be applied on these values. Okay. In the same way, say for example, I want to read the date of birth from the user. So what we used to do, we used to say something called input type equal to text again. User need to give the date of birth. But from your HTML5, instead of input type equal to text, you can simply specify something called as date. Whenever you specify input type equal to date, this is how a calendar controller will be created automatically. Okay, see the magic here. You're not at all working anything. Automatically, the calendar component will be created where you can specify the date format, MMDD, whatever the date format you want, it specify, and choosing the particular date will automatically select this. And not only the date here, I would like to go with date and time. So if at all you want to go with date and time, date time hyphen locale. Now, if you reload the page here, it will even take the date, month, year, following with minutes, hours and seconds, hours and minutes. Okay. If you want only the time, you can even specify, you can even say something called li time input type equal to now, if you see, you can only specify the time also here accordingly. Okay, so these are the new type of input elements. On the top, you would have seen in some of the pages that a price range we used to get it, isn't it? So I want to say something called as what is the price? Instead of user saying input type equal to text, if I say input type equal to text, you give any bigger value or smaller value. Now assume you want to specify a range. It should be only between some 1,000 to 10,000. So how do you do that? So that is where you have something called as input type equal to range bar. Simply say input type equal to range. This is how a bar gets created. By default, it will be on the center and you can actually increase or decrease the value. Even for this guy, you can specify the minimum value, say something called as 1,000, say some maximum value, something called as 10,000. You can specify any value. Now, whenever you're going to move this bar, okay, whenever I'm going to move this bar, it will automatically decide what value is there for the particular position. Okay, example, let me put some, by default, it doesn't show. You would have seen in most of the Amazon or shopping applications, whenever you drag the range bar or you drop, whenever you're changing the value of the range bar, yeah, whenever you change the position of the range bar, it automatically shows what value user has falling under, isn't it? So if at all you want to see that value, so how do we get this? If you try to get the value of this guy, let me say on change. On change is a predefined event which automatically fires whenever you change the drag, whenever you drag this range bar. Okay, let me say get price selected. Okay, copy this guy. Let us define the JavaScript code for this guy. Where get price selected is okay. How do I get the value of this guy? Let us say ID equal to u price, I will say. Okay. Now if I say console dot log document dot query selector hash u price dot value. Okay, let us see this guy now. Inspect this, reload the page. Now you go to the console. Anytime I change this value, see how it is coming 4037 6303. When I reach to the end, it is 10,000. When I reach to the starting, it is 1,000. So whatever the range bar you keep it out, it automatically calculates the value. Now you may ask me a question, boss, why you are showing in the console? Why don't you show it on the page itself? Now you can simply put a span or something like this. Say some span r id equal to r price, result price, I'll say. So I simply say document dot array collector hash r price, sorry, u price dot value is equal to whatever this value is. But in fact, it is not a value, it is inner HTML is equal to so and so. Now, if you see here, reload the page, no need of console now. Whenever you drag this guy, drop this guy, nothing coming. Why so? Go for console, it is throwing a value. What is this? U price. Sorry, it should be R price. Yes. Now, if you reload this guy, so whenever you change this, cannot set property of a null in your HTML. So what it is saying is I couldn't be able to find out an element with R price, but you have that, right? Why it is saying R price is not available? Span ID R P small letter. Okay, it should be caps. Reload the page, close this console. Once you drag this guy, see here, it automatically does this. You can give a better look and feel, but I just want to show you, this is how you can make use of the range bar. Okay. In the same way, you have something, I mean, in fact, yesterday also we have already seen, say something called as favorite color. I want the user to enter the favorite color. So you can simply say input type equal to say some color. So what the input type equal to color will do, it will throw you a color picker where user can select the color from the available multiple colors. Okay. In the same way, like there are some more things like input type equal to say something called as phone number. Okay. So what do you mean by this guy? When I say phone, maximum it doesn't show much difference on the laptops, but when you actually use this input type equal to phone, input type equal to search, input type equal to email, these type of things will be much more helpful when actually you go into the mobiles. Once you open a mobile, remember, like whenever you are entering a text box under which a phone number has to be entered, a keyboard will pop up automatically. So under the keyboard, when it is a phone number, you don't need to show the text boxes, only the number keyboard has to be shown. So that is what happens once you say input type equal to phone. If it is a mobile, you say input type equal to email ID, a text box, a keyboard will be shown accordingly so that user can enter the email IDs. Okay, so that is where it will be mostly useful, not much on the desktop. Okay, so let me go into the notes once, guys. The development front end. Okay, let us search for HTML5. Oh, canvas tag directly. Yeah, see here, these are the set of input elements like telephone, which is called as phone URL. You want to select a week, input equal to time, like this. So these are the new set of input elements what we supported. So you go with the search and telephone. These actually will be helpful when you actually go into the mobile type of stuff. Okay. So any questions on the new input elements, guys?
No, sir.
Okay, good. Now, the next support what you have in your HTML5 is, okay, before that, Rashika, you have a question regarding the dialog box, right? I mean, today the time is mostly up. I will finish the audio and video tag for today. So remind me tomorrow If no one could able to do this, tomorrow I'm going to show you how do we create a dialog box. Fine, Raj? Yeah. And but do remind me in the initial stage of the class so that first of all I'll finish that, then I will go with the remaining topics. Okay, so the next small feature what you have in your HTML5 is there is a support of something called as audio and video tags, guys. Anytime you want to add a audio or a video within your web page, earlier days it never used to load automatically. HTML4 was not having a capability to load a audio file or a video file directly on a page. So what we used to do, it used to depend upon the third-party plugins like ActiveX, Adobe Flash Players. Okay, some external third-party plugins it used to depend upon. Based on that, it used to load the videos. But nowadays, what we are seeing, HTML5 has got the capability of loading an audio and video tags without any dependency of third-party plugins. Okay, and these are the attributes what we have. But before that, let's have a look on what actually these audio video tags are. These again supported from your HTML5. So anytime you want to load any of the video, so we use a predefined tag called as video. Okay, under this video, you can use a predefined tag, something called as source tag. Okay, under that, you can actually specify what is the video source and what is the type of the video tag here. Okay, let us get some sample videos, guys. Okay, let me get this video. This is one of the video. Let us see how it is getting rendered. Okay, this is one of the video. What I want you to do is I want to add that video in our HTML page. So how do I do that? I simply specify src attribute with the URL of a video. This video could be a public video or a private video. You can even specify the movies or video files you have within your local machine also. Okay. So one thing what you need to specify in the type is you need to specify two things. First of all, you need to say that, boss, it is a video of type. What is the extension here? Okay, video / MP4, because whatever the video file we are loading is an MP4. Now, if you save this, come back here, open the default browser. This is how the video is coming. But if you see here, there is no play button. There is no video getting loaded. Why so? The reason is anytime you want to load a video, first of all, you need to specify the controls. Controls indicates the play button, the sound controller, the pause button. So those all stuffs will be by default disabled. If you add the controls attribute, then only you see those on your video. See here, when I'm reloading the page, now you have the controls like play button and the pause, the sound, etc. You could able to control it. See, without any dependency of the third-party plugins, we could able to load the videos within the browser. Okay. On the top, there are more attributes here. What are those? If you see, first of all, controls we already seen. Autoplay. What do you mean by this autoplay here? By default, on load of the page, autoplay is equal to, or else you can simply say autoplay. It will automatically get played when the page is getting reloaded. Okay. In the same way, you can specify the height and width. In the same way, there is something called as a loop. What do you mean by loop here? Loop indicates, let me show you practically. I say loop is equal to true. Okay, the name itself specifies. Whenever you play the video, when it reaches to the ending of this video, okay, it will automatically start from the starting again. See, when it reaches to the end, it will again start from the starting automatically without doing any click. So that is what the loop property means. Okay, it will be keep on repeating until and unless you manually pause that guy. In the same way, muted. On load of the page, you can actually mute the videos. Poster. So poster is one useful property. You would have seen in most of the videos saying that some banner image will be shown. Like for example, in YouTube, whenever you see some of the videos, they say that 10 million views, 1,000 million views, but actually that image is not a part of video, how it is getting shown. So using your poster, you can specify an image URL, which can be directly shown on the video before you click on the play button. Okay, let me get some image here. 100 million views image. Okay, get them some images. Okay, say for example, I would like to put this guy, open image in new tab, copy this guy. Our expectation is whatever the video we have, our video should automatically show that poster. Okay, so how do I do that? You simply specify poster is equal to so and so, and I don't want to put the autoplay. Save this guy, come back and reload the page. See here, the poster has come automatically. Poster is not a part of the video, but it will be shown. Now on load of the page, it will show the video. But why it is shrinking and increasing the images here? Because we haven't specified the width and height. If you specify the width and height, it automatically will be constant on every on every case. It will be the same width and height. Okay. And what are the other attributes we have? Preloaded. I mean, it will automatically buffer. You would have seen in Facebook or YouTube, right? You can actually buffer the video so that like once the internet goes, the buffering video will be shown. So these are the new attributes can be added for the video tag. And on the top, not only video.
Sir, difference between autoplay and preloads.
Or preload will not load the video. Autoplay in the sense once you load the page, it will be keep on playing. Preload in the sense buffering will be done. Once you play the button, then only it will load the page, load the video.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So HTML5 not just supports the video. You could able to go with something called as audio tag also. Okay. Same type of features, same attributes, controls, looping, etc. and all. Only thing is when you say source here, the source attribute is taking src, specify the path of the audio file, and the type is going to be extension along with, first of all, you have to say audio and what is the extension of it. Let me get some HTML5 audio files. You can actually add your own sample. You can put if you have any songs in your system, you can actually add those. This is a small one I have. Let us see. This guy. Okay, this is the OGG audio file. I can simply take into the src attribute, audio file, and OGG because the extension of this file is OGG. And again, the same thing. If you load this guy, you shouldn't able to see the audio because you haven't added the controls. Controls to be added for sure. Now you specify the controls. Now if you come back to the page, reload the page, you should able to see the controls out here. Okay, so this is what the advantage we have with your audio and video tags. Either the local or the global links can be loaded into your current page. Any questions on this? Simple and straightforward.
So can we convert this info video tag into semantic tag?
video tag into semantic tag. What do you mean by a semantic tag? It is a predefined
We
tag.
define any name.
Sorry, we define.
Self name, sir.
Yeah, I mean, but we cannot do that, right? When I say self name into instead of video, I want to say something called a Prasad video. Then that doesn't have a meaning. Now there is a div tag. Instead of div, if I want to put it as Prasad's div, it doesn't work, right? So this is a predefined tag. For sure, you need to go with this. Predefined tags are like you want to define a tag, you specify it as a block level or inline just to hold the content. User defined tags or self-descriptive tags, what you define, can't hold images, can't hold videos, can't hold anchor tags, etc. and all, because those are dedicated tags. You are not injecting your own predefined user defined tags can only hold content. That's it. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Go ahead, Sonali.
hello. Sir, in date of birth, while you are selecting the year, sometimes we say that there is a arrow mark given, and sometimes we see that there is a pop-up is given. We can select the year in between. There is a year given in between that we can select our. How can we do that?
Okay, so what you're saying is you want to specify the range for the year, right? You want to go with this year. Okay. Okay. Tomorrow I will let you know. Is that okay? Tomorrow I will again get back to that. How do you specify the range for the dates? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So let's pause for today, guys. Yeah. Go ahead. Go in. You're saying something. Okay. Fine. So I have actually other meeting guys to attend. So that's the reason I'm stopping. So I will answer the Sonali's question tomorrow, and we'll continue the discussion tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll be talking about the dialog box, custom dialog box. I'll show you how do we create a dialog. It's again the CSS only, nothing much. And on the top, I will talk about the app cache concept and the web workers, Canvas and SVG concepts also tomorrow. Okay. So have a good day and bye.
Bye, sir.
Yeah,
Good night.